Z followers. Welcome back to the questions where you have the questions and I have the answers. And I haven't posted in a while, or I guess uploaded in a while. I don't know what the terminology is. Either way, have been on YouTube for a while because it was the first week of school. Woo! We're already dying inside. Okay, so I'm planning this opening for a while now, actually. You know what back to school means? School shootings. No! Ow! Why? And you know what that means? Dun 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 dun. Gun control. Question today is, what are my views on gun control? And remember, just a disclaimer, as I put in all of my videos, I am not an expert on these topics. I have done research to try and get a sort of more well-rounded, more like thought through opinion. And if you have an opposing opinion, comment below. I'd love to hear your views and hopefully have a discussion with you. I would love that. You know, just remember, be respectful in the comments because we're all trying to get through this crazy little world that we live in together, you know, and we only have on average like 80 years on this earth, so why would you waste them hating people you don't even know on the internet? And into a comment section too, that's so petty. Anyway, so back to gun control. Once again, not an expert. So I'm gonna try and get through every aspect of this argument that I can. Once again, if I forget something or you have something that you don't agree with, comment below. I'd love to hear your opinion. Anyway, on to the video. So what are my views on gun control? Obviously I think we need it, you know, but it's not about, I think the resounding thing is that we need it because, like, I'm not saying that guns are bad. Guns are guns are guns are guns and guns, you know, the same as any other weapon. My thing is you can kill anyone with anything if you try hard enough. Guns are just things that can kill you quickly, you know, like you can also kill people with knives and cars. Honestly, you can kill more people with cars than you could with a gun, you know, in a short amount of time. But we're not going to ban cars, you know. So I'm not saying that like a full-on weapons ban is a good idea. I'm just saying that it's not. We can't just like blame the guns because anything can kill people. Anyway, I'm rambling. So gun control. Let's start with previous gun controls or forms of gun control. Obviously, the main idea is that we can do background checks, you know, for criminal records, like how like mentally stable this person is, which I think is a really good idea, you know, but that doesn't stop the thousands of guns already in circulation. You know, we can regulate new guns, but how many people already have tons of guns? You know, and people who are selling them in garage sales or just have them and are passing down to the family. You know, we can regulate guns that haven't been sold, but we can't regulate what people do with the guns they already have. And I think a lot of people in this debate have overlooked that part, you know, because we can like regulate all these new guns, you know, and the output of guns would, you know, the pace that guns are being produced would slow, but you still have all of these guns out in circulation, you know, for, you know, with people who maybe don't fit the criteria to get a gun. And yeah, so that's just like a part that's overlooked, is that we can regulate guns, but that doesn't stop the people who already own guns and are already selling them through like unauthorized means. By unauthorized, I don't mean legal, though it could very well be an illegal weapons deal. I mean like just through like a garage sale or like a flea market or like gun shows or whatever, places that aren't really like authorized to teach you how to shoot and sell. That is another thing that I think is that if you're going to buy a gun, you need to be like, you need to prove and test that you know how to use that gun that you are buying, that you know how to sort of, you know how to use it and how to use it responsibly and whatever, because a lot of gun-related accidents happen, not just school or mass shootings, just accidents because people like had one or were messing around with it and just went off because people don't know. That brings me to uh, sort of outside look because obviously like we've had different forms of gun control, but sadly they haven't been the best. They weren't like it's like they were done out of malintent and like actual good intent. Like Ronald Reagan, put a gun control regulation in California specifically so they could systematically arrest like black people because black people were now allowed to own guns and were using them to protect themselves on the streets. You know, because it was like 60s, 70s. Actually, then again, probably more like 70s, 80s. Either way, because that was the time. Hate crimes still happen, and you know they wanted it for self defense, and yeah. So how other countries regulate guns? Of course, you know England, Canada can't carry a gun. You know, unlike America, you can't have open carry. Though I think they're banning it in like Fred Meyers and Walmart's now. I mean, which is cool because why would you need a gun or a Walmart or Fred Meyer? You know, and so and it's very interesting what other countries have done because it's like, once again other solutions that we as a country never thought of or maybe thought of and just didn't really think it was a good idea or manageable. Like what was it? Australia. Remember I said that a lot of guns would still be in circulation. They went and they confiscated all of the guns already in circulation. Of course, people got compensation. You know, they paid them, which is why it's not very reasonable, I guess, for the U.S. to do it because unlike Australia, we are very, very deep in debt. You know, we couldn't pay back every gun owner in America if we tried. We couldn't pay off the deep south alone if we tried. My country's in debt. Okay. Yeah, so it's a good idea. Once again, it's a good idea in theory, but economically, it's not that feasible for our country. But it worked for Australia, you know, and I'm very proud of them. Once again, it doesn't stop all mass shootings. Obviously, since you've heard like in New Zealand, that kind of stuff, things are still going down. But it did like it's not as common, I guess. And even in the United States, you know, mass shootings aren't really as common as they portrayed. It's just a bigger event than sort of like the accidents I said with guns. So honestly, I think this is just like is more like accidental deaths, you know, caused by guns in the last like 50 years than all the mass shootings. You know. Anyway, I don't know. Once again, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. I'm not an expert. I'm just voicing my opinion, trying to make it sound educated. So once again, I feel like should have gun control just how we regulate it. Anyway, on to more ways to regulate it. Israel, which is in the Middle East, has a mandatory draft, and they have, you know, how they regulate gun control is that you can buy a gun, but you only get 50 bullets. That's like your lifetime supply. You know, once you're out of bullets, you just have an empty gun. That's it. That's it. You know, which is interesting because we never really think of the regulate ammunition, you know? Like, guns could be legal, but if you only had a certain amount of use for it, I feel like that's a good idea. Also, because they have the mandatory draft, everybody's trained on how to use a gun safely. Now, I personally don't believe in the draft, but I do believe that maybe if guns are as big a part of America as it should, as we're making it out to believe, maybe there should be mandatory like gun training. You know, you don't have to buy a gun, but if at least you know how to use it in the eventuality that you would need to use one. I personally think that's a good idea, and I think that regulating ammunition is also a good idea. You know, uh, but once again, I don't know enough about it to fully understand how that would work. Now, finally, on to the uh, Second Amendment debate. Because Second Amendment, as most Americans and probably a lot of like the world because of media and all this arguments on the news and stuff know, is that Second Amendment gives us the right to bear arms. But just like our antitrust laws are out of date, so is this one. Everything, people need to remember that our Constitution and our amendments and stuff were written way back in the 1700s, 1800s, before all of these things were a problem. Like, one of the things I've been talking about recently is that Amazon, Facebook, Google, Uber, Ticketmaster, Apple are all basically these giant monopolies through illegal means, you know, and people have knowingly, like, and they have, you know, admitted that they are doing these things illegally, but can we prosecute them for this? No, because our antitrust laws, you know, which completely applies to them, can't actually prosecute them because they only applies for brick and mortar businesses. And all those things I named are not brick and mortar businesses. And the reason that doesn't apply is because technology didn't exist. There was no internet. There were no computers when the law was written in like the 1800s. No one thought that we were ever going to get here, you know? We didn't even have TVs in the 1800s. You know, cars were barely a thing in the 1800s. Like, no one ever thought to regulate these things because those things never existed when these laws were being written. You know, we're trying to justify everything happening now in an outdated constitution. And I'm saying some things still apply, like freedom of speech is eternal. You know, it's a very basic concept that you can say whatever you want, you know, as long as it's proven to be true, or at least proven to not be not true. You know, that's fair. Freedom of religion, you can practice whatever you believe. Is that practiced in the US? See, that's another debate for another day. So anyway, gun control. Right to bear arms. Now, I'm also a huge history buff, so hear me out. When the Constitution was signed, another one of the amendments is that we have the right to form a state militia. And basically what that means, it's like our own personal state army, because just like one of the big things with the Revolutionary War is they didn't want to be one whole unionized, like, didn't want to have one central control. That's why people hated Hamilton's banking system so much, because he put the bank in one centralized place. He centralized all debt, just like in England. And they didn't like that. Like, they didn't want one centralized army, which is what we have now. Thanks to James Madison. So, the right to bear arms was kept in case that they needed to form a state militia, which of course now there is no need to, because we have an army and we have bases all over the country, you know? And I'm not saying that militias aren't needed, I'm just saying that there's not as much need for them anymore, because now we have our own centralized army. We didn't back then. And that was the main reason why we were allowed to bear arms. Because if you needed to revolt, if England attacked again in the 17th century, no, it would be 18th century, because everything's going off, that's so stupid, in the 18th or 19th century, and your state militia didn't have weapons to fight back, then you were dead. You were all dead, you know? I think that was the reason why the Second Amendment, and now there's no need for it. Not saying that the Second Amendment is obsolete, you know. People, I think, if they feel that they want to have the right to bear arms, then they totally should. I'm just saying that it's no longer what it was. The purpose of that law is no longer, like, needed anymore. I feel like it should be redrafted with said regulations. You know, like, we can edit it. We've edited the amendments so often, you know, leading up to the 21st century. And the 21st century, all we've been able to argue about is the morality of abortion and guns. You know? And so my views on gun control is that there absolutely should be regulations. But we all need to figure out the best possible way to regulate regulation. It's like to form those regulations, you know, and make sure that everybody's happy. And not saying to completely ban guns, because if people feel like if they feel like the one thing in the world that's going to make them feel safe is having a gun, then so be it. I'm not going to fight with you. That's your own personal belief. But once again, same thing with automatic weapons. Not needed. You know, army regulation guns should not be in the public. You know, there is no reason for a normal citizen, hunter or not, to have an automatic gun. You know, rifles, I guess, handguns, I guess, automatic whatevers that the army uses, you know, should not be in the public. That's my only firm belief, because there's just no point. Why would a normal citizen not in war have those? You know, so that is my views on gun control. Mandatory lessons, you know, on how to shoot one, even if you're not going to buy one. Just that's something you need to know. You know, educate. Same thing with like abortion and that kind of stuff. Education. Educate the people. You know, no automatic, like high-tech automatic military weapons in mass to the public. And just be respectful of other people's beliefs. You know, if people want guns, then they should have guns, but, you know, with the responsibility, I do believe in background checks for mental stability and previous, you know, offenses. And I do believe that we need to consider at least thinking about how to regulate guns that are already in circulation. Because that's some of the biggest things. We can regulate new guns, we can't regulate guns that are in circulation. So I think that will be the biggest problem we have. Those are my views. If you have any more questions, comment below. Any questions off topic of gun control, comment below. If you want to politely put your opposing or slightly differing views in the comment section, I would love to hear them, and I would love to discuss with you in the comments. I am always open to learn new things and hear other people's opinions, but once again, you have to be respectful. I will not tolerate all this fighting and stuff in my comments. I say no one ever comments. But if you do, I love you. I look forward to hearing from you. I will try to post video more regularly, but now I have school, so it'll probably only be on Saturdays once again. This is probably the longest video I've made in a long time. I love you guys so much. Have an amazing day the last few weeks of summer. I hope you enjoyed school, and if you didn't, you know, it's hard. School is hard, especially when you had this whole time to relax. Now you have all these classes, and maybe not classes that you asked for. Maybe they're classes that you thought you could do, but now realizing you can't. Remember, if you overcommit, you have to deal with all the different social circles, you know, impacting you. It's hard. Not just the schoolwork, but the societal pressure just to be. And I understand, and it's okay. I love you. You're doing your best, and I'm proud of you. Okay, so long, and thanks for all the fish.